so keep that in mind.
Yeah, hey, forget I asked.
That'll definitely do.
Ew. Join the Discord.
It was the least fun I've ever had playing this game.
A small but vibrant and extremely humble community.
No, I've seen the sleeves, but I'm like, you said you're suiting up, and then you put your sleeve on. Thank you for saying that.
Because I'm a demon on the keys.
Next thing I know, we're both dead. I immediately left the lobby.
In Vietnam.
What are they playing for? Are they playing to win?
Stay humble.
Stay humble.
We are live.
Oh my God. Fix your mic, bro.
You know what? I'm going to make it worse next time just to piss you off. Welcome to the first episode of a brand new year, dude. 2021, January 2nd, 7:09 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, of course. Welcome to the Dropshot Call of Duty podcast. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. I am joined once again, as always, by my good friend Tanner. Tanner, say hello to everyone.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the program.
Welcome to the program, indeed. Tonight's been pretty eventful, pretty interesting. Lots of support. And we thank you, of course, for all of that support. And I think it's because of the Trump stimulus checks, of course. That's what someone said in chat, and
Nobody's gotten them
sense.
except for you.
Well, everyone's gotten them except for you, right?
Nobody's gotten their Trump bucks yet.
Well, okay.
Well, I make too much money. I won't get one.
Yeah. Thank you for hitting that before I needed to. Yeah. Anyways, welcome to the program, episode 95. We have a very interesting, fun, and exciting episode planned for today. This is going to be going more back to our old Saturday podcast roots. Because originally, when we started doing Saturday episodes of the program, they were on topics that were... It wasn't covering news or patch notes. It was like analysis, opinion kind of deal. And then we started doing Q&As, which we're still, of course, going to do. But we've been wanting to talk about Warzone. And we are going to do that tonight. And there was actually... I wrote the notes for this, and then a very exciting YouTube video was released after I finished the notes. That was on literally... Go ahead.
Let's just make something clear, right? You hadn't finished the notes before you posted the video. He posted the video hours ago. You just didn't know about it until I sent it to you.
At what time?
Well, it was like early afternoon.
Okay.
It was before you posted the notes, believe me, because I looked at the notes at some point. Because you said you were going to write them, and then I looked at 2 hours later, and they weren't there. So,
well, keep that energy for sure. Anyways, whatever. There was a video released on the exact same topic, which was very fortuitous for us and for you guys. So,
well, we have an insider.
That's okay. Whatever. Welcome to our new... I'm fucking lost. Welcome to our new patrons. A. Kelly, Ryan S., Kelly M. 2 Kellys, huh? Matthew, Instagram.com/RazinonTTV. Matthew F., Tom, Allie, Brent G., Cameron L., Mark H., and See You Later Boy. That's a list, by the way. That is a list of new patrons, new supporters of the program. Patreon.com/thedropshot. $5 a month, 4 bonus episodes a month, and the entire back catalog, which is full of absolute fucking bangers. And if you've been a fan of the program, one such episode has some leaks in it about the program itself. So if you wanted to, get the inside scoop, patreon.com/thedropshot. But for all of you new patrons, thank you. I appreciate it. That's a lot of people. It means a lot. That is, of course, the best way to support the program. Okay, what do we have here, Tanner?
I just wanted to throw out a special thank you. Nick Can 86, the pastor himself. He upgraded today from gold to Damascus. So thank you, dude. I think that should be thrown in there, right? I mean, it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade, right?
Well, it happens all the time, and I've never done it before.
So does it happen? Do you get notified when people do that?
Notification, so I didn't know this.
That's the only reason I said it, is because Nick posted it in the Discord. So thanks if you've ever done that. We don't get notified of it. Nick's the only one that's ever said that.
Yeah.
That we've acknowledged. So thank you. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. Yeah, I didn't know. You guys have been, sending me DMs. I mean, let me show you guys my notifications if I can. Would this leak anything? Wait.
Probably, yeah.
Wait. Okay, we could do this. So, like, I have notifications up here, and then I have a bunch down there. It's hard to tell, but I'm just balls deep in notifications, dude. Just balls deep, right? And we're very busy right now with episode 101, for example, and other things. So I have to turn on streamer mode. Hold on, sorry. Notification settings. Fucking yikes, dude. I'm so mad. I'm gonna exit Discord. Oh, but I have to relaunch it again. How do I turn on streamer mode? I'm so mad. This is such a shit fucking program, dude.
This is the worst. Why do people listen to this? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a yikes. I had to turn it off for some reason. And oh wait,
oh my
nope,
god, Jay,
you're
right.
I figured it out. Okay. All right, we're good. Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm balls deep in notifications. So yeah, a lot of you have like messaged me, added me in Discord, etc. I will get to you guys eventually, but I haven't had time to lately. So anyways, whatever.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I didn't see that. But the Pastor Nick, long time listener of the program, friend of the pod, of course, has upgraded. So make sure you do that also, because we do Patreon hangouts, which I'm going to get into. So, the hangout last night, in fact, patreon.com/thedropshot, we do a weekly hangout with the Damascus boys. And then when we do like a custom Warzone lobby, we'll have the gold patrons join too. So gold isn't able to come to every hangout. Damascus is, obviously. And last night we ran a little experiment, which I think went really well because it was instructive and it's going to be helpful for our topic tonight. We ran custom Warzone lobbies with all the patrons, and we didn't allow people to use the DMR, the Type 63, or the Akimbo Diamattis. And the reason for that was to simulate what Warzone will be like once the DMR and the Type 63 are nerfed. So it was actually pretty interesting because it felt nothing like the Warzone Tanner and I have been playing for the last week, because there were no
Correct.
DMRs and you didn't get one framed every single step you took. So that was cool. And that is basically the impetus for why we're doing this episode tonight. So yeah, it was really fun. Jake Down was solo once, and we were doing threes. So it was like groups of 3. Jake Down was solo, and he's a cheater. We learned that last night because he won. He won. He was solo in 3s, and he won. He also had stopping power on a Mac 10, so does it really count? We'll put an asterisk there. But anyway, that was interesting, and I just thought I would mention it. So twitch.tv/JakeDown. I don't know if he's highlighted it yet, or if he has a YouTube channel.
Well, he hasn't, because I had Twitch take the VOD down. Contacted them today.
I should DMCA him and say he's rebroadcasting my fucking private lobbies. Yeah, we could do that.
We certainly could, yeah.
And then we also made McBango cry, which amuses me.
What happened with that?
We made McBango cry. So we made one of our patrons cry. And that amuses me.
Probably.
And that amuses me. Now, you might be listening to this and thinking, hey, dude, why would you make people in your community, especially your supporters, cry? Why would that amuse you? That's pretty rude. That's pretty fucked up. Well, he was drunk. Number one. And also, they were tears of joy, of course. Because McBango got affiliate, whatever. He's a good dude. He listens to metal. He used to have Cat Dad in his Twitch bio, and I forced him to take it out, and then he did. And then we rated him afterward. We said, okay, now that you've taken Cat Dad out of your bio, and don't ever do that again, obviously. We rated him. He got a lot of love and a lot of support and a lot of drinks, apparently. So that was cool too. So twitch.tv/McBango for that. And there were a bunch of other streamers. When you guys cry on stream or get a solo win in threes, then, you know, we can talk about it. So don't get mad.
It's funny. I don't remember who was I playing with that game. I don't remember who I was with, but we knew it was Jake. I was like, oh my God, is that Jake over there like killing all these squads? Because I think we were already dead and we were spectating. And there was this guy he just started shredding one of the trios. I was like, oh my God. And I started laughing. I was like, dude, that has to be Jake. And sure enough, he fucking takes them all down. And then it shows the winner screen and it's Jake down all alone in the helicopter. I was so mad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he cheats, like I said. So make sure to go report his Twitch stream. That's a joke. Don't do that. That's also Omega TOS for me to say that. It might even be a TOS to joke about it. But Jake Down's a friend of the program. Don't report his stream, even though he does cheat, of course. It's also a joke. Also, did you write this as well, Tanner? The highlighted?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yep.
Got it. Sean D. Thank you for the 10 United States dollars donation. There was a message attached, and it read as follows: thanks for answering my question and the compliment, LOL. Now, I don't remember what the compliment was.
I think we called him a handsome young man or something.
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
That is something we say.
He is very handsome.
We have handsome listeners. I don't understand.
He was
why.
the one you said something about, I'd like to see a photo of you without a shirt on or something about that. So he liked it. He liked the compliment.
Well, I would have preferred a shirtless photo over $10. I'll keep it I'll keep it $10 with you.
Because you'd be in jail.
But anyways, don't play COD anymore because skill-based matchmaking is actually making me mauled. Fair. But still listen to the pod because you guys are awesome. Wishing you and Tanner all the best. Well, Sean, thanks, dude. I appreciate that. We're gonna relocate this, Tanner. Also, Aussie Menace, thank you for the $15.39 United States cents. Change it, of course. 20 Australian buckaroos, so inflation, or what's it called? Exchange rate? Whatever. To the first streamer to say Aussie Menace is the sexiest streamer alive. He said this in Discord last night, and I immediately jumped on it because I'm a whore, right? I'm a whore. And I will, you know.
Oh, it's a true statement as well.
I'll do anything for $20 or $15.39. So Ozzy, thank you for the dono, dude. Lots of love from you over this last year almost. We'll get into it on episode 101, January 23rd. Take the day off work. Tell your dumb bitch girlfriend she's probably a nice woman. Tell her to go to the spa that day and not come home.
What?
What? No, not you.
Jesus.
The listener.
I know.
Get their family out of the home on the 23rd.
Oh, okay.
They should be the only one home with no obligations. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And no family members. Send your dog to fucking daycare or something. I don't know. This has not been the best intro we've ever done, right? Is that fair to say?
Are we already 20 minutes deep? Jesus.
It's possible. 15
minutes deep?
We're 14 minutes and 10 seconds, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the best we've ever done, but let's just move on. But Ozzy, thank you again. SP Farms also. The Drop Farmer. The Crop Shot. We had a good nickname. I think it was the Crop Shotter. Or the Crop Shot. Whatever. SP.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah. Long time supporter of the program. Also donated 45 United States dollars to the website fund. I honestly don't know where all this money is coming from. And it hasn't just been today. It's been like the past 2 weeks. I don't get it.
Could be that super spicy Patreon episode that the average viewer wouldn't know about unless they're part of the Patreon.
True. Now, if you're listening to this and you're not a patron, you must be wondering, what could they have possibly said to scam all of us this hard? And you might be super fucking curious, right? $5 United States and you can find out.
Yeah, true.
And then you will have become a victim of the scam, dude. You will have. So make sure you sign up. The bonus episodes are great, by the way. Most of them Call of Duty focus, some of them less so. But anyways, SP, another longtime supporter of the program, who's also given far too much money to the program. Thank you, for real, for the 45 United States dollars, brother. I appreciate it. Now, Tanner, it looks like you have more announcements than you've ever had, right?
It's basically, yeah. Okay.
So let's send it over to Tanner here.
To start with, Sean D, handsome young man. We're still waiting on the shirtless picture. He said he hasn't been working out as much, hasn't had enough time, so he's not ready to send that picture. That's what he told us in the Discord. But thank you, Sean D, for the $10 donation. I appreciate that, dude. Next up here, I'll just touch on this real quick. I got a new processor. I've been trying to upgrade. I wasn't too pleased with my 3900X.
I just read it.
In terms of gaming. So here's what I did. I went to a random parking lot and I met a guy in his Tesla and I bought a Ryzen 5950X off of him. And I installed it in my computer. We're not going to get into that story. And it's now working. We'll just say that. So everything's good. I have a new CPU.
So
It's a 16 core monster. Warzone, most of the map, well, I wouldn't say most because it's so poorly optimized, but a lot of spots I was 200 plus, where before this I was barely getting over 150 in most areas because they screwed something up with season 1. It's lower than normal. So I'm fully expecting when and when I say when, I mean it never will be, but when it gets patched and fixed, you know, people's frames will go back up to like high 100s, low 200s, and hopefully I'll be at like 240 plus. So, so that was fun. My next thing here. So a lot of people have been asking about this. Yeah. Okay, Chris. A lot of people have been asking about the drunk Kev optimization. So we talked about this a few weeks back. Power GPU, powergpu.com. They have tech support, and his name is Drunk Kev. And he uses TeamViewer, he logs onto your PC, he optimizes it, you pay him money. So, a lot of people have been asking how this went. So I'm going to tell you because somebody brought it up last night and they got it done and we were discussing it. So, to start with, if you're thinking about getting this done, I'll drop his info at the end. But what he does is not something you can just Google. Because when I first started, or when I was reaching out and thinking, I wonder what he can really do versus what I'm just going to Google and find myself about how to raise frames. But it was nothing like that at all. He basically has these scripts and files that he's created, and he loads these onto your computer. And he starts with he removes GeForce Experience. He removes all of your drivers. He reinstalls them. He doesn't reinstall GeForce Experience because it's awful. He just installs the drivers. He does these little tweaks using his scripts that he runs, and he leaves these files on your computer. So every time you update your graphics drivers, your Windows updates, you run this new script, and it puts everything back in there. Because basically, when you update it, it resets it. So you run these scripts again, it changes your settings back to what they should be. He's basically trying to get you the most amount of frames possible.
Did he run the Windows debloater?
I don't remember. There were certain times where I left my computer when he was doing things because I was doing stuff around the house.
He did. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff. So then he also did a network optimization, which is designed to reduce latency, reduce packet loss, all sorts of things like that. Which I still don't even know where he found that on my computer. He went to some network settings, couldn't tell you where they're at. Don't know, have never seen the page before. So that was cool. The best thing about all of this, if you ever run into issues or anything, he has scripts that undo everything that he does. So if you're having some sort of issue, he says, okay, just run this script and it'll revert everything back to what you had, restart your PC. We'll go from there. We'll figure out, if you have some sort of issue, we'll figure out what that is. He told me, he saw that I was using Streamlabs OBS. He said, oh, you need to dump that immediately. It's fucking terrible. Basically, the CPU utilization, the memory utilization on Streamlabs is very bad. It's very high compared to OBS Studio. So he downloaded OBS Studio for me. He set everything back up. He transferred my stuff over from Streamlabs. and I guess Slobs is just full of bloatware now. Those were his exact words.
Dude, my CPU usage on my streaming PC, which has only Slobs open, really, is fucking 42%.
Well, you also have a dog shit processor in there, but yeah,
it's the worst computer that's ever been built.
But you don't need a good one for a streaming PC.
It's an
yeah.
i7 6700K overclocked.
Oh,
to
that's not
4.2,
horrible. Okay,
and it's
thought it was like an
40%.
AMD dual core Athlon from 2006.
You'll never catch me with an AMD. So
yeah, but anyway, so he strongly recommends switching to OBS Studio. I haven't done that yet, but I have a lot of it set up because there's still a bunch of things I have to tweak and that he can't. Like basically, I have to do it and he can't. Like add in all
overlays
my
and shit.
Yeah, add in all the overlays. He's not gonna, or I'm sure he would do that, but you know, you're gonna have to pay him to do all that if that's easy enough. Yeah. And I don't want to waste his time, and I'm sure he doesn't want to do that. It's just dumb. It's dumb work for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, he recommended switching over to that. So also, I brought this up now because I don't remember who it was in my chat last night, but somebody came in and he was like, "Hey, dude, like I heard you guys talking about Drunk Kev. I got my PC optimized by him. It's working really, really well." And he was very impressed. He's like, "Dude, he was really cool." He said he's getting more frames now while gaming and streaming in Warzone and Cold War than he was just gaming before. Like he said in Cold War his frames are up over 50. In Warzone they're up like between 30 and 50. He has a beast build too. I think he had a 10900K and a 3090, so he's got a really good build.
Jesus Christ, I'm jealous.
Yeah, and so Drunk Kev hooked him up there as well. So if you guys are thinking about getting any of that done, because we had a lot of people asking, I highly recommend it, especially if your PC's older. If you have like a brand new build, maybe not necessary, but also if you bought a brand new build from like CyberPower's PC or some company that's not very well known, it's something you may want to have him do, because they don't optimize PCs off the start. They install the parts, they install Windows, they ship it out, they don't do anything else. They install some BS like antivirus. Yeah, sometimes they don't even set XMP for your RAM and blah blah. So the best way to get in contact with them, go to powergpu.com. There's a form on there that says I want technical support. You fill it out, you say what your issue is, they email you back. I got the email back within like 2 days, and it's totally up to you. He's like, what day do you want to do it? You tell him. Basically, he DMs you on Discord that day. He said, "Hey, do you have time to do it this time? If you don't," which happened to me one day, I was like, "Oh shit, sorry, I can't today anymore." So okay, that's all good. So we did it another day. Super easy to work around a schedule. So you can get in contact directly with him at Twitter at RealDrunkKev at Real DRUNKEV. But they still prefer you go through the website and get in contact that way. But if you want to follow him, he gives out some tips and shit there. So yeah, and of course, okay, it's funny out of everything you say that, right? You're the one that's telling me that.
We're talking about fucking BIOS, dude, not Call of Duty.
Okay. So anyways, if you're going to do that, tell them the Dropshot sent you and let us know how it goes.
Agreed. Normally, I would never do that, but we're talking about BIOS updates, right?
KYS.
In IGOFC. Yeah. I don't want to be a cunt, but so sorry, but anyways, whatever. Let's move on. Yeah. Real Drunk Kev, for sure. I would also add quickly, if you don't have any issues with your PC, I probably wouldn't fuck with this or anything. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if you're having any issues, that's a great place to go. I would agree. And of course, tell them the Dropshot sent you. We've made Power GPU so much money, by the way. Like, so much money. God, it's so... Make them give us a promo code, dude. Anyways, whatever. Real quick. Jesus Christ. Okay. Gifty Boy, 600 bits. Chenzi, 100 bits. Bjorn, Dropshot, has stolen his mother's credit card again. Another gifted sub. Thank you, dude. A. Kelly, 75 biddies. J. Decker, 200. Chris Beclaire, 98. And Jake Down with the Gifty Boy, dude. Let's go. Brothers, thank you very much, dude. That is a lot of support. I really appreciate it, boys. Gift, Chen, Bjorn, A. Kelly, J. Decker, Chris Beclaire, Jake Down. I appreciate the love, guys. Also, Goated Out and Trump MAGA with the 20 United States dollars toward the website fund. And then Trump MAGA tacked on an extra $1. Had to beat Goated, LOL. Okay. Okay, dude. Goated, thank you again, man. You've given a lot of money to the website, and I appreciate the extra $20. Trump MAGA, thank you as well, dude, for the 21 United States dollars. And tell Trump I said thanks for the stimulus check that we've gotten again. But Trump and Goated, I appreciate you guys as well a lot. It goes a long way and it helps a lot. And yeah, thank you all for the support. You guys are disgusting. And these announcements have been 25 minutes long, so let's get into the program. If you were listening for the jingle, here it is.
Oh shit, I'm right in the wrong spot.
All right. So, normally we would be going over playlist updates, but there are none. So we are going to get right into the topic of today's program, which is Warzone and how it will change. So as we said in the announcements, today, last night, we did the Warzone customs. We had and we played with no DMR, no Type 63, and no Akimbo Diamattis.
Which was fantastic.
It was great. Yeah, for sure. And the reason we did that is because the DMR will be nerfed. It will be nerfed. So today we're going to talk about, and also Tanner and I, besides the customs last night, have played a lot of Warzone in the last week. Like a lot of Warzone. We played more Warzone in the last week than we've ever played in any other week.
Well,
maybe when it came out, we played more.
That's just not true.
You don't think so?
We only played like 3 days. We played last night. We played Wednesday.
Well, okay, whatever. We've played a lot in the.
We've played. We'll say that we've played more than we have in the last month and a half. That's for sure.
It feels like we played a lot, but yeah, maybe not too much. But either way, we have been playing it a lot, and we're gonna just cover our sort of impressions of it in its current state, and then we're gonna kind of prognosticate about what you can expect and what we expect Warzone to be like after the DMR gets nerfed, which is hopefully soon. And I think Tanner has some inside info on that, which we'll get into in a little bit.
Call it inside. I think it's just more obvious info or a good guess.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we'll get into that. But also a quick note, this is not a sequel to our award-winning smash hit episode of the program all about Warzone, of course. But we will be doing that fairly soon. We're going to wait probably about a month until all the nerfs happen and the meta sort of settles for at least some length of time. And then we're going to get fucking balls deep in an all about Warzone part 2 or something.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that's going to be a great episode, and I'm excited to go over that as well. So, obviously, the DMR is obscene. We all know this. I don't know if we talked about this on the regular program or if we did it on the Patreon only. But we're going to tell you guys what all of you already know, of course. The DMR is overpowered. Right? There's too much ammo. It's too high of a fire rate. And it does too much damage. And then, yes, as Tanner added here, the headshot multiplier is fucking gross, too. I think it's a two-shot headshot. Yeah. Fully plated.
Two-shot, fully plated, yep.
And, I mean, this is obviously insane. So there are a lot of implications of this, and it will be nerfed. Number one, this renders using vehicles just completely obsolete. Your car will explode fucking instantly, basically. It used to be, once upon a time, you could drive a car and it couldn't take an unlimited amount of damage, but you could, survive for a little while. Now you can't. Your car will blow up in like 3 seconds.
We actually get excited when we see vehicles and helicopters now. We're like,
Yes.
oh, cool. Let's just fuck their asses.
Literally, dude. Yeah, we're like, fuck yeah, idiots. And then just like shoot the shit out of their car. Yeah, true.
Yep.
True. So vehicles help with mobility, by the way. And now we have less because you can't get in a vehicle or you'll die. This also makes moving your character even outside of a vehicle even more treacherous than it's ever been. And this incentivizes camping, of course, building whoring, etc. And you guys know me, maybe, by now, if you've listened to this program for a while. I hate this. This is why Modern Warfare 2019 Game of the Year Edition is the worst multiplayer experience of all time. Because every mechanic in the game is designed to help you camp and punish you for moving your character. And this is bled into Warzone now with how disgusting the DMR is. Because if you're in the open and someone with a DMR sees you, you can get shot once or maybe twice. And you have to take cover. Because if you take one more shot, you are dead.
Yeah.
There has never been a meta where being in the open is punished this hard.
Yeah.
You just can't move. So now, again, you have to be in a building. You have to be camping. You have to play ultra passively because you can't move across an open area. Now, even before the DMR, you probably shouldn't be running through the fucking prairie regardless. But now it's just impossible. You can't do it. You will die. And also, this is why we ran the customs without the DMR last night. It is so OP that you're forced to use it. Literally nothing else can even come remotely close to competing, except maybe the Type 63. But that's basically just a worse DMR because it's still a semi-auto. You're going to set it up the exact same way. So you're going to just be using a DMR that's not a DMR. So, and also, if you enjoy sniping in Warzone, by the way, that's a Keck W.
The worst part of it all, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of people have been saying that. Yeah. Have you tried sniping in this DMR meta, Tanner?
I think I tried one game. I busted out. I think it was a car or something. And I mean, it's like you see somebody, they start shooting at you. So you're behind cover. You pop up real quick with your Car 98. By the time you get your reticle on them, you're already dead from their DMR. So it's just completely useless. And sniping is, I think, one of the really fun parts of Warzone, especially using like a Car 98, AX50 like something a little bit quicker. I'm not talking about like just camping with an HDR and playing dumb, but like Car 98s, you get some really fun plays with. And the DMR meta has just completely destroyed that. You don't see anyone running them. And if you do, you think, what is this idiot doing?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, true. Have you used the Type 63?
I haven't. I do. So you said it is a worse DMR. It technically is, but it is still a 2-shot headshot. It's basically, it actually kills quicker than the DMR, but it's the thing it's worse at, I believe, is the recoil. It has more recoil and the idle sway is a lot higher.
Yeah.
But the damage does more. The fire rate, I think, is a little bit less. Maybe it was about the same. But the headshot damage is still the same. So what's going to end up happening is they're going to nerf the DMR and then not touch the Type 63.
That is what I'm afraid of.
And then everyone's going to be using the Type 63. So this same meta is probably going to be around for like another 3 to 4 weeks because everyone's just going to switch to the Type 63 if they don't nerf the DMR.
Agreed. I think I write that down later, but I think you're right. I think these devs, because, and we've talked about this too, every single person who is on payroll at Activision, Infinity Ward, Treyarch, Sledgehammer, Raven, Demonware, or whatever the other companies are, none of them have ever installed Call of Duty on their Xbox, PS4, PS5, or PC. They've never played the game, and they haven't seen it since they developed it 2 years ago or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
So they probably have some person go on Twitter, such as Ashton Williams, who will then funnel community feedback to the dev team, because that's the only way they're going to know what people think of their game, because again, they don't play it, right? They don't play their game. And like Ashton Williams, enemy of the pod, the person whom they hire to do this also doesn't play the game and is also terrible at their job. So what's going to happen is, of course, they're going to tell Tom, Dick, and Harry over in fucking patch balancing team to nerf the DMR, and they will, and then they're going to not even know that the Type 63 is in the game. So yeah, I'm afraid that's going to happen too. But if that does happen, I was going to mention this later, but I'll just say it now. If that does happen, the Type 63 will get nerfed like a week after the DMR gets nerfed, because then people are going to be complaining that it's the exact same game.
Yeah.
So again, in this meta currently, the strategy to get wins is to get your loadout as soon as possible. That's kind of always been true. And then play like a complete pussy.
Yeah.
You can't run around and get kills. You can't really kill race. I mean, you can. It's just really risky. And if you get caught moving, you're fucking dead. But there are times where you can just get a fuck ton of kills too. And we've seen really high kill games with the DMR. You just have to be the one that sees the other people first if you're moving. And then you'll kill them. And this is my problem with MW. It's not about who's better at shooting their gun. It's about who sees the other person first. This is the problem with very fast time to kill. We talked about this with MW multiplayer, and now we're seeing it in Warzone. For some of you who may have doubted me, saying, hey, fast time to kill doesn't mean the skill gap is obliterated. Oh, what do you think of Warzone, dude? What do you think of Warzone when you get shot with a DMR and you try to outplay them because they saw you first? Oh, do you just instantly die and have no chance? And it felt like no matter how good you are, it wouldn't matter because you died instantly? Welcome to the point I made 6 months ago about MW, right? So anyways, that is the play, is to play like a pussy. That's gendered language, and we like pussy here at the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast. Nothing wrong with pussy. Play like a coward, right? And yeah, stay in buildings, stay behind cover, etc. Now, if you want to run around LARPing as Mutex, you're going to have a bad time. Unless, again, you see everyone first. And the TLDR is in the current state of the game. Warzone is neither fun nor exciting. Which is what I would say. So,
yeah.
Any thoughts on the DMR in general? Just all this stuff?
I mean, it's a really bad meta, but also at least you have the weapon, and so it's basically an even playing field because every single person for sure has a DMR in their loadout. Now, whether they're using akimbos, Mac, whatever they're using as their secondary, everyone has a DMR. So you're all on the same page here. But like you just explained, is it makes everyone play stupid.
Yeah.
And it makes vehicles useless. So, I mean, everything you've said makes complete sense. It's just ruined right now. So my biggest thing with this, I think you hit everything, is level up the Type 63, because I'm thinking they won't nerf it when they nerf the DMR.
Such a good
So
point.
maybe a good thing to do, because mine is not leveled at all. Mine's like level 4. So I need to do that myself. So I will be doing that probably just in Cold War multiplayer. I think you guys should do the same.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I would recommend first is uninstall Warzone. But if you don't want to do that, then yes, level your Type 63. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the biggest problem with it is just there's no outplayability. You just have to play in such a way that you try to see people before they see you. And that's just not fun.
Yeah.
It's not very skillful. There are skills, but go ahead.
If you're using a sniper and you miss one shot, then you're pretty much dead to a DMR. It's like if you can get the jump on them, or if you get like a quick shot off and you down them, or if they're not looking at you. But other than that, they're just completely useless now.
Yeah.
So with
sniping, it's like There's no reason to snipe unless you are going to only get headshots.
Yep, exactly.
Because if you don't get a headshot, then you're going to have the rechamber speed, and then you'll need 2 shots to down someone. And at that point, you would have gotten 2 squad wipes if you had a DMR instead. So the only way it's better than a DMR is if you headshot everything, which of course is, I mean, some of you probably cheat if you listen to this program, like Jake Down. That's a joke. But yet, you know, for the average player, for even the best player, there's no reason to snipe. And then here, Tanner and I actually probably disagree. And certainly some members of this community are going to disagree with this. So that's why I've labeled this in the notes. Quote, hot take. Hot take alert, boys. The Diamattis, the akimbo Diamattis, are not overpowered. They're not overpowered. Now, Jake Down, cheater, friend of the program, is malding right now, right? He's mad and balding. He's malding because he's dumb. But allow me to explain, okay?
Okay.
Obviously, the akimbo Diamattis are good. Also, they're clearly the best secondary in Warzone right now. No question. But some of you absolute dipshits are pretending that they are better than a fucking MP5 or a Mac 10, which is a giga yikes, right? Because they're of course not. I agree with everyone that they need to be nerfed for sure, because they're way too good as a secondary, but they are not as good as like a Mac 10 or a fucking Spaz 12. See, Tanner's also malding. Right, we're going to have some disagreement here. That's fine. That's fine. It's not a problem. Again, let me reiterate, they do need to be nerfed. They're overpowered, for sure. I guess I said, okay, so let me take this back. My first point was they're not overpowered.
He's getting scared because everyone in chat is bitching.
No, absolutely wrong. Here's what I meant to say.
He's so scared. He's shaking.
By secondary weapon standards, they're overpowered. But by weapon standards, they're not overpowered. They would be balanced if they were a primary. Let me put it that way. Now, since they're not primaries, nor should they be made to be primaries, I would say in that case, of course, they need to be nerfed. But they're not oppressive like a fucking DMR is. Like come on. Come on, guys. Come on.
I disagree with that.
Well, okay. We'll get to that. Last point here. You can't ADS with the Kimbo because you have 2 guns, right? And I'm not sure if you guys knew that because it sounds like most of you don't. I'm joking. I'm being incendiary. So again, I mean, they shred up close. They are overpowered by secondary weapon standards. But if I can get outside of probably 12 meters with an SMG, you're going to get just shit on. And also, this is not me theory crafting. Because again, we've played on a mount the past week. I've died to akimbo Diamattis once.
What? Oh, that's why you're not complaining about them.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Once?
Yes. Because I'm not dumb. Right?
It's just usually because you're dead pretty quickly in the round, and then you're just not alive for the rest of it.
That is fake news. I repudiate this charge. I repudiate this charge. Dumb. We can check the VODs. We can check the VODs. I am not usually dead, and if I am, it's because you guys baited me, right? So it's never my fault, obviously.
It's never his fault, no.
But again, I've seen a lot of akimbo Diamattis, but most of the time I'm too far from them, and I just Mac 10 them, and it's fine. Obviously, they're going to feel unfair if you push a building, and then they're corner camping with them. But my point is, if he had a Spaz 12, and he's corner camping with that, and you pushed a building, you would also die just as fast. Or an Origin, or an R9, or a model, etc.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, the fact you can left click and you can right click at the same time and basically one frame somebody, there's nothing that can go up against that when you're in close proximities. And then you're also saying like they're only viable within, what'd you say? Inside of 12 meters. Okay, yeah. The movement speed on those, you run twice as fast as you do with a knife. I swear to God, I want somebody to test it. I don't know what it is. You sprint faster than any other gun. So it's like if you see somebody and they're 50 meters away, within 2.3 seconds, they're already in your ass with their pistol shoved up there. I mean, I mean, now that you said you've only died once to them, now I understand. I've died to them probably 15 times. I've never once died to the MAC-10 and thought, oh my God, this shit's busted. Every time I die to those, though, you don't have time to react. You go from full armor to dead instantly. You don't have time to react. It's fucking busted. Now I want nothing more than for you just to walk into buildings all night on Warzone tonight and get shit on by these things.
I would get shit on if I walked in a building and...
Oh, you're right. You just can't back on a roof and get sniped. Okay. You fucking idiot.
Okay. This is not a debate worth having for two reasons. Number one, we all agree they need to be nerfed because they're too good for secondaries. Actually, I think that's the only reason I can think of. Yeah. There was another reason I don't remember it, but anyways, whatever.
I mean, you get 32 rounds in each pistol.
30. It's 10
Is
shot.
it?
Yes, yes. I'm 1,000% sure.
I thought
Unless
it was 32.
It's different for Warzone because I got my Diamattis gold today.
Somebody in chat, is it 32, 32? I thought it was, I don't know. Either way, it's at least 30. Exactly. You click 2 buttons one time, and it's a guaranteed kill when you're close.
Okay.
And I mean, the hip fire on them is insane. It's... You don't have time to react. I genuinely think they're more busted than the DMR. I would rather play the DMR meta for a month than ever have to get killed by these pistols again.
Okay, that makes me irate. There's no way. That's
because at least I can kill other people with the DMR, right? Okay. But if you have any other secondary besides those, you can't get the kill when you're close. You can't. There's nothing you can do.
Here's my caveat, and maybe I should have mentioned this. I haven't used them in Warzone. So there's the caveat.
Oh my God.
But again, I think I've died to them actually twice. But one time the guy had stopping power and I died instantly. But
well, good.
It was stopping power though. So I was like, oh, I don't care. It is possible that their Warzone like damage values are insane, but again, I would have expected to die from them a lot more if they were as much of a problem as a lot of people seem to think. But again, this doesn't matter. They're going to get nerfed, and they need to be nerfed. Those are the two main points. So whatever. Let's move on.
Chat's malding.
Chat is, of course, malding. They're mad and balding.
A lot of unsubbers tonight.
That's fine. Hey. That's fine. Let's move on. So we'll agree to disagree. Maybe I'll use them tonight and then see how I feel about them.
Well, yeah, you finally have them leveled up, actually.
True.
The thing is, I don't want to use them because I want range with my secondary. And like Jake said...
That's how I feel as well, yeah.
Like Jake said, the thing with those pistols are you don't have to use overkill. So you get either ghost or restock right off the rip. And that's a big advantage, either way you look at it.
Yeah. But if you're going to win a game, you're going to get 2 loadouts anyway. So, like, who cares? I don't know. And you lose the ability to ADS with them. It is good. Like, it's a benefit to get restock right away or ghost right off the rip. But I don't know. I don't know if I would sacrifice that and not have an SMG. In fact, I wouldn't. I don't do that.
Yeah. Okay.
So, anyways, whatever. Let's move on. MAC-10. A lot of people are using this. Here's my opinion on this. This is more agreeable. Chat will probably be less mauled about this. The MAC-10 is a good SMG. It might even be the best SMG in Warzone right now. But in my opinion, it's not overpowered. I don't think I would nerf this at all. I think it's like perfectly fine in Warzone. It feels like it's good. I feel like it does good damage. It doesn't feel much stronger or weaker than like an M-dub MP5 though. I think the MAC-10 is just like a good SMG. That's like relatively balanced, but just quite good. What are your thoughts on it?
I agree with you there. It does what I expected it to do. It does a lot of damage up close, but it kind of has a strange recoil pattern, and it blows through ammo so quickly because of the fire rate. So it's not good from like longer distances like an MP5 would be. So I was saying this last night. I almost think the MP5 is better. The Modern Warfare MP5 is better in almost all instances, other than like within probably 7-8 meters. I mean, I keep using the Mac and I keep losing gunfights, and I feel like I shouldn't. And part of it is because the ADS spread is a lot greater, at least the setup I've been using. Maybe there's an attachment we should be using that I'm not. But the MP5, you don't ever have to ADS because the spread is so small. It just stays concentrated. But with the Mac, with the Mac, the spread is a lot greater, and I feel like you have to ADS, which I don't want to do with an SMG. That's why I keep dying, I think. So I'm actually, maybe tonight I'll swap back to an Modern Warfare MP5 and test it out to see if I still feel that way, because I haven't tried it since the Mac 10 meta. But it just seems like the Mac 10 is new and it's an SMG, and it is really good. Like, it's definitely like a top 2, top 3 SMG, probably the best within a certain distance, like you're saying. But I just don't like the hip fire.
That is a great point that I forgot to mention. I 1,000% agree with this. And if you watch before the R9 meta, if you watched a lot of these really good Warzone streamers, they almost never ADS their MP5. Now, the benefit of having an MP5 is that sometimes they would need to, and you have the option to. So like Symphony, for example, really good player. If he's in a building, he's never ADSing his MP5 because it has Merc foregrip and 5 milliwatt laser. So the hip fire spread it's too small. I always thought this should be changed. And we talked about this in our MW year in review. Hip fire is way too fucking good in that game, period. And especially on an SMG with a 5 milliwatt and a Merc foregrip. It's too good. So I agree with that, because Cold War doesn't have Merc foregrip. It doesn't have anything. It only has the 5 milliwatt laser. But the Merc foregrip on top of that really fucking helps the hip fire accuracy. And the Mac 10 doesn't have that. That's a good point. That's a really good point. And that is worth mentioning. So, yeah. Very good point. All right, real quick. Let me get this. Game of Chairs Xbox. Subscribe for 5 months. I think you changed your Twitch name. I think you used to be just Game of Chairs, and now you've thrown Xbox on the end of your name. But welcome back, dude. 5 months. Mick Bango, friend of the program. Metalhead. Bearded lad. Lots of metal music. Paraphernalia. Memorabilia. Neither. Iconography in his stream. Thank you, McBango, for the 5 gifted subs. And Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada Pinkett, by the way, I know we talk about how there are a lot of handsome young men who listen to the program. We discuss this a lot because we see what they look like when they post pictures of their merch in the Discord or on Instagram or on Twitter. ! Shop in the chat. Make sure to buy your merch today. But when I was playing with Jada Pinkett Smith last night for the Damascus hangout, patreon.com/thedropshot, I heard his voice and I was like, I don't know what Jada looks like, but he sounds like a handsome kid. Is that weird? Have you ever heard someone's voice and you were like, this person sounds attractive?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I strongly got that vibe last night from Jada Pinkett Smith, who, by the way, is not, in fact, Jada Pinkett Smith of Entanglement fame. But anyways, with the 1,000 bits. Thank you, dude. So Game of Chairs, McBango, the 5 gifty boys, and Jada, 1,000 bits. Let's go, baby. Thank you, guys. I love and appreciate you very much. Thank you to all of you. Much love. Now let's move on. As mentioned, for the hangout, the Damascus hangout, patreon.com/thedropshot, of course, we ran Warzone with no DMR, Type 63, or akimbo Diamattis. And now I want to share our experience. This is going to be actually the more interesting half of the program tonight. because this is going to be more of an insight into what to expect in the future. Because again, the DMR is going to get nerfed, yada yada. So we're going to share our experience, and we want to try to paint a picture of what Warzone's going to look like after the nerfs, so that you can mentally prepare yourself and perhaps level these guns up if you haven't. So we're going to get into that. Obviously, we didn't test every gun, but we still have some thoughts. Now, first of all, and this is to Tanner's point, unsurprisingly, snipers were, again, extremely viable when they did not have to compete with the DMR or the Type 63. Now, I want to say there's a caveat here. The Dropshot community is full of demonic snipers. So this isn't
campers.
Gonna be they're camping and they're cheating, of course. This isn't gonna be exactly indicative of like an average Warzone lobby, because again, there's just demons in the demons at the hangouts, right? So there are a lot of snipers, and they were fucking doing really well. But that's been a theme for every hangout. We just have some really good snipers. But those were extremely viable again. And that is absolutely going to happen again once the DMR and the Type are nerfed. So, we'll get into it actually. The Groza is an assault rifle in Cold War. And it is complete fucking dog water. It is ass. It is terrible. It had far more recoil, even with field agent grip, to be usable as a primary in Warzone. Like, I set up my Groza to have like max recoil control. And by the way, for a Cold War gun, there's only one attachment for recoil control, which is the fucking under barrel or grip. I don't know what they call it, but it's the field agent grip. Now, it also, the only other thing that helped recoil in Cold War in the gunsmith is like a muzzle brake, which is a muzzle attachment, but you can't use that because you have to use a silencer. So instead you take I think it's a GRU suppressor, which is a monolithic suppressor by a different name. So now that I have to run that, I only have one slot to help recoil. So if a gun has a lot of recoil, if that attachment alone, the field agent grip, isn't going to make it usable, then you can't use the gun. So you could use the Groza as a secondary to like a sniper. The problem here is, why would you? Because there are far better options. And this really disappointed me because I expected the Groza to be like really fucking good and competitive in Warzone. Absolutely fake news. Way too much fucking recoil. Especially when there's like kilos and rams out there that you don't have to do anything. This thing has far too much recoil. So yeah, Tanner, what are your thoughts?
Okay, yeah. I agree with you here. So I picked one up yesterday during the hangout, patreon.com/dropshot. A lot of fun. When I picked it up, I was like, oh, okay, dope. I'm going to try out this Groza. There was another squad probably 70 meters from us, like running in the hills. I think we were over by, where were we? Maybe Boneyard, looking east. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to start firing at these guys. I fire like 3 shots with the Groza, and my fucking reticle was directly above me. I mean, it was at the sun.
Yes.
I was like, oh, okay. And my secondary was like a Mac 10 or something, so I couldn't do anything. I was like, oh, I mean, you literally couldn't do anything. I tagged a few of them like a couple times, just got like a few body hits on them. But yeah, I mean, the recoil is absurd on it. Yeah. So I agree with you. It's actually unusable as a primary, which is very sad to see. I wanted the Groza to be good. It's terrible as a primary. It seems to do a lot of damage within like close to medium range, but the recoil makes it worse than like every other AR in the game pretty much. I mean, it's got more recoil than a lot of them. Probably almost more than any other Modern Warfare AR, except for maybe like the Scar, possibly. I don't know. I mean, it's a lot. So, I mean, it's pretty much only viable as like a secondary to a sniper. But then, yeah, it's like, what's the point in using that when there's way better secondaries you could be running with a sniper, like an MP5, like a Mac, like an MP7, anything really. Yeah. So that's unfortunate because the ground loot Groza does shred up close, the one that's built like an SMG basically. But it's like, if you're going to kit it that way, just run an SMG that has better movement speed, better ADS spread.
Yeah.
A higher fire rate, etc.
And probably faster TTK at the range you'd want to use that Groza too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's been really unfortunate. But let's so how many Cold War guns did you use, Tanner? Last night?
I pretty much mostly used the Mac. I picked up a lot of guns when I killed people and messed around with them. I did a lot of floor loot Krig. Which the Krig seemed pretty decent, actually.
Yeah.
I think the floor loot, the green one has like the 3x optic or something. Actually pretty good, especially just for a common AR. So that I think later down the line can be like an average, pretty decent AR. But it was mostly just like the Mac 10 and I was running the Car 98 last night because I felt good running the car. I wanted to snipe kids. That's what I was having fun with.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. So let's move on. This was a fan favorite, and these are in no particular order, by the way, guys. This was a fan favorite last night, which I found interesting, and I know why. The QBZ is another Cold War assault rifle. Some people were using this, and they said that they did pretty well and really liked it. I used it myself, and it has very little recoil, decent ADS speed, handling speed, reload time, etc. The problem, though, is the TTK is awful. It just doesn't do enough damage, or it doesn't have enough range, probably both, to compete with any other MW assault rifle, or most other MW assault rifles. Yeah. So it's like, this is the one Cold War assault rifle that has, like, very little recoil and would be, like, where you could like hit shots pretty far at like kilo ranges, for example, in Warzone.
Okay.
Except it just does less damage. So again, it's like, why use this? So I understand why people last night were saying like, oh, this feels really good because it's like easy to hit shots. It's got very little recoil, but it just doesn't do the damage. And when there's something like a RAM that has just as little recoil but does a fuck ton more damage with more bullet velocity, again, why use the QBZ? What are your thoughts on this? Did you touch it at all?
I think I picked one up once. I don't know if I ever even got a kill or anything with it. I don't think I did, but I get what you're saying. So it's like people are thinking it's good because they're hitting a bunch of shots at range because of the low recoil, but they're not like they're not getting those kills, or it's taking them a lot of bullets to kill them. But in their mind, they're like, oh shit, like I hit every single shot and that guy was really far away. So this is a good gun. Exactly. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Because I mean, J God said it himself. The QBZ, he said it'll never be an option in Warzone pretty much. I mean, the time to kill was like over 700 milliseconds. I think it was
so long, dude.
It was an actual piece of shit. Like he literally said, he's like, no, this is one of the slowest killing assault rifles in the game.
Yeah.
So the people saying that they thought it was good, it's not. I mean, you're thinking it's good. I understand. When everything's new like this, you feel like these guns are good, and then like you see the stats and you compare them to other guns, and then you realize, oh man, never mind. It's not good at all.
Yes, exactly. Because what those people aren't realizing probably is that if they were using a RAM in the exact same scenario that they got the down on the guy with the QBZ with, they would have also gotten the down, and they would have gotten half a second faster. Like, so yeah. Again, like I understand why people thought it was good. It's just not, though. It's just not.
Yeah.
So that's the QBZ. The FFAR is another one I tried last night. Insane recoil. More recoil than every assault rifle in Cold War or MW. That's not a joke. It has the most recoil of every assault rifle in the game. Again, I set this up with Field Agent Grip, which is the only attachment I can use to control recoil. Doesn't help. Right? Doesn't help. It probably helps. Not enough. Doesn't help enough, right? Far too much recoil. And I was so mad about it. This thing has so much recoil, dude. Do you remember this, Tanner? It was a match where I was on Deacon's team and we were in Promenade. Deacon and I were on top of a building, and then we had circle and you didn't. So you were you were like sniping at us. You had to go on the ground. I was behind that truck. You're behind the truck, yes. And then eventually, I don't know if we got you or the gas got you or whatever. I was using an FFAR that match. And I was mounted on the roof, and I was still just fucking dragging my arm down my desk, like desperately fighting the recoil, mounted with the field agent grip. So the recoil is unconscionable with this weapon. It's out of this world. Literally. Because you'll be aiming at Pluto. It's just out of this world. Which, of course, again, makes this completely useless as a primary for Warzone. Unlike the Groza, however, I will say this about the FFAR. I can see it being a genuinely good secondary to pair with a sniper rifle. Because this thing pumps. I think you probably wrote that note, actually. Because I don't recall writing pumps with 9 M's.
No, you definitely wrote that.
Okay, well, I was in a fugue state, apparently.
You were, I don't know what was going on there.
Neither do I.
I mean, you didn't even work today. I don't know what was going on.
Well, yeah. Well, this is work. We'll get into it. Yeah, again, I can see this being a really good secondary to pair with like a sniper rifle. In the same way that the M13, before Cold War was integrated into Warzone, the M13 was basically useless in Warzone unless you were sniping and you wanted an assault rifle. That is the only time I ever used an M13 in Warzone. And for that role, as like a middleman between SMG and AR, the M13 is quite good, actually. You just can't expect to kill people far away. Now, the reason for that with the M13 is because the damage is dog shit, or the damage range. The FFAR will find itself in the same boat, but for a very different reason, which is that lot of recoil. But the recoil is completely controllable inside of 20, 30 meters. It's just when you get to most engagement range, then it's not going to be good. But I could actually see this being used with a sniper. Did you try this, Tanner? What are your thoughts?
I've used the FFAR a lot, just the ground loot ones mostly. There is I think there's a blueprint for it that spawns. Maybe it's even a purple one, but there's some pretty decent ones that have like a red dot on them, and I do like using them. I do think it's some of the best ground loot in Warzone right now. I haven't tried running my own custom setup, but I do agree 100% with you. I want to try that. It's never going to be like a medium to long distance AR option ever, but for up close, it could be a really good gun. Because even the green one, like when you spawn in and get that thing, you shred people very quickly with that.
Yeah.
So I think the FFAR can be a good option. Kind of if you want like that, up to medium, but mostly close range engagements. I think it's really good for that.
Yes, I agree.
Because it has better range than most SMGs. Even though the recoil may be a little bit more, if you can handle that. The thing about the recoil too is there's a lot of it, but it seems like it's mostly just all vertical recoil. Versus it does bounce side to side, but it's not horrible, random horizontal recoil. It's mostly just vertical. It feels like where you have to pull down, which is still annoying and hard to control, but at least you can kind of expect it and it's coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But, yeah, I don't know. I want to try this. I want to set this up for close range and try this eventually, but it's just not worth doing right now in DMR zone.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then lastly, for Cold War assault rifles, the Krig and the XM4, the Cold War M4. These were fine, but there are better ARs to use. These were both, they felt the same to me. Pretty accurate. Pretty good handling. That's about it. Nothing special. They certainly didn't feel good, but they didn't feel terrible. This is kind of like a QBZ with a little more recoil, but certainly manageable, and a little more damage as well. But they weren't like good. And again, probably every Modern Warfare assault rifle is better than these two. They felt the same to me, actually. But what are your thoughts, Tanner?
Well, the XM4 in Cold War is the worst gun in the video game.
Yes. I've come back.
The ground loot XM4 in Warzone isn't bad, actually. That suppressed one that has a 50 round mag, it's not horrible, but I think you said it best. It's just, they're both just average. It does seem like the Krig is better, but again, I mean, they're not even as good as the Kilo, even in its current state. So they're just like mostly the Krig, definite, just middle of the road AR. Nothing special about it. It's not horrible. It's probably not as bad as a QBZ when it comes to actual time to kill. It's definitely not that bad. But yeah, it's just, I mean, they're average guns.
Yeah.
Use them if you want, but you know, I don't know. There are definitely better options out there.
Yes. Agreed. So yeah, and then we'll move on here to LMGs. I tried the Stoner and the RPK. The M60 I did not try. And maybe I should have, probably not. But the Stoner and the RPK. Okay, so the bullet velocity on these, unlike every other Cold War gun, is disgusting. It's fucking instant. It feels like hit scan even in Warzone. I mean, instantly bullets just reg. Yes. They
wonder if it's bugged.
Like,
maybe they are hit scan.
It's possible, like the SPR.
I mean, they've done it before. Yeah,
they have done it before. They feel. Their hit reg and bullet velocity feels exactly the same as like a MW LMG. So if you can imagine what those feel like, they hit instantly. They hit as expected, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I like when my bullets land in my first-person shooter game. So that's cool. But unsurprisingly, the mobility is dog water. And worse than that, the ADS speed is not competitive even by LMG standards. And we'll get more into the reasons for that, but like a PKM is going to be better than a Stoner and RPK because they ADS faster and their damage values and bullet velocity are roughly the same, including the rounds per minute. So it's like they feel fine, but a PKM is the same thing, but better because it has snatch grip and tack laser. And we'll get a little bit more into that. But yeah, they felt good, but again, by LMG standards even, they ADS too slowly. Tanner, did you try any last night?
So I haven't tried any of these in Cold War. I do know that even in, did I say Cold War? I didn't try any of them last night in Warzone, but I do know in Cold War, their ADS speed is just so bad. Yeah, I mean, unusable, actually. The biggest thing for me, though, is LMGs will never have the movement speed that I want in Warzone, which I think is necessary. When you're running out in the open, you need to move fast. I mean, yeah, you can have a secondary with good movement speed, but if you end up somehow stuck with like a sniper or something or an AR with one of these, I don't know. It's so bad. I don't ever want to use one. I mean, the aim down sight movement speed sucks.
That too.
I don't want to have to deal with that.
Big.
So
yeah,
like that's why the Bruin was good and meta is because it had that magazine that essentially turned it into like an AR, and it had a lot better movement speed and aim down sight movement speed compared to all of the other LMGs.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, even if the Stoner or something is really, really good, I hope that doesn't become a meta at some point and you're forced to use it if it's like busted, because I don't ever want to use an LMG. I hate slow movement speed.
Yeah. I wouldn't worry about that, to be honest.
That's where I'm thinking. Unless they double the aim down sight.
Yeah.
Or I guess they cut it in half. Double it the aim down sight speed. Yeah, I guess if they double it and then they put a 60 round mag.
Yeah, you'd either double the speed or halve the time.
Yes.
How you'd say that. Okay.
There we go.
Anyways. Pellington and Tundra. Let me start here. I'm disappointed in everyone in the hangout last night, including myself, for not trying these. I just forgot to try these, and I would have if I had remembered. And I didn't see anyone else using them either. This makes me furious. But outside of the hangout, we have used the Pellington and the Tundra, only the ground loot versions to be clear, but we have used them. Actually, only the Pellington. I don't know if there's a ground loot Tundra.
There is. Yep. It has an odd scope on it. It's like, I want to say there's a 3-time scope on it or something. I've picked it up, but I've never actually used it.
Okay.
I did hear the Tundra's pretty good though.
The ground loot Pellington felt fine to me, but whatever. Let's move on.
It's good like early round if everyone else has like shitty guns.
It's a serviceable ground loot sniper. Yeah,
after 5-7 minutes, it's not good.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so couple things. The scopes are just fucking weird. The default scopes for the Pellington.
Right,
and the
they're the worst, dude. Like, what is going on with those?
Yeah, I don't know. And also they're like 6x by default or something. Whereas with an AX50 and like an HDR, I think those are 8x by default. And that's important in Warzone, obviously. And then also their velocity is a lot slower than MW snipers.
Yeah.
Which is, again, a big issue in Warzone. Because if you're sniping in Warzone, you need to reach distances even farther than you would want to in multiplayer. Most of the time. Not all the time, obviously. But the upside, though, of these snipers is that I think none of them have glint. Or, like, only, like, certain scopes or some shit. Do you have intel on this, Tanner?
I think it's almost all of them from what I think it's, I don't remember. It was J-God that had that info, right?
Yeah.
I think it was all of the Cold War sniper reticles. They have no glint. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So, this could offset the weaknesses, the low bullet velocity and the fucking weird scopes. By the way, when I say weird scope, what I mean is it's positioned kind of oddly, I think. And also, when you strafe with it, your scope is not always in line with your face. So if you can imagine looking down a scope of a rifle and then moving your left hand 15 degrees to your left, but not moving any other part of your body, you'd be looking into your scope, but you'd just be seeing the other side, the side of your scope. You wouldn't actually be looking out into the world. So when you strafe with these Cold War snipers, for some reason, you get that. Like, not completely obstructed, but it's like you'd step left and your scope, like, shakes so that, like, 30% of your field of view through the scope is, like, cut off because you haven't, like, because you're elite super soldier. Spec Ops, Dev Gru, Mac VSOG team operator, Rose is her name, is like not capable of keeping the scope in line with your eyeballs, which is just weird because MW snipers don't work that way. If you strafe with an MW sniper, you have a clear sight picture the entire time. With the Cold War snipers, you don't. And I don't know why that is. So that's what I mean to say when I say they're weird. So they don't have glint, again, which could offset that weakness and their lower bullet velocity and their shorter scopes by default. But the fact that they don't have glint is not intentional, probably, which means it might get patched at some point. And if it got patched, then there would just be a ton of weaknesses for the Pellington and the Tundra with no upsides. Because now they have glint also, so it's like, why run this over a car, an SPR, an HDR, an AX50? There would just be no reason to. So, and even, let me add this, even if they never have glint ever in the future, I'm not sure even that would sufficiently offset all of the weaknesses of these guns, these snipers, compared to Modern Warfare snipers. So even if they didn't have glint, I don't know if that would be worth it. So we'll see what happens with those, but I'm curious what could possibly be done to balance them. They could fix the weird scope issue, for sure. Who knows if they fucking will, of course. I just don't know. I don't know what they could do or what they will do. But again, I want to be clear. I haven't used these a ton. And I haven't used a custom class Pellington or Tundra ever, in fact, in Warzone. Because we have to use DMRs. And again, I do kick myself in the ass for not trying them last night. So I don't know really what to say on this, but I would guess they're never going to be meta. If there's ever going to be a sniper that is viable in Warzone that comes from Cold War, it is going to be a sniper that we haven't gotten yet. And then the final point I will add is the Barrett, M62, 82. Let's stop naming guns with an M in front of them, right? We have an M60, an M91, an M75, an M69. I can't keep up. I'm a white West Coast liberal elite from Southern California, and I've never even seen a gun in real life. So when you have all of your guns named M two-digit number, you lose me. So let's stop doing that. So whatever the fuck the Barrett is called in Cold War, I've never used that in Warzone. It's pretty fucking good in Cold War multiplayer, but that doesn't matter, of course. The M82. Okay. So Goat is saying the M82 is good, don't knock it. That is what I was going to say, Goat. I was going to ask if any of you have used it and what your experiences were with it in the Warzone landscape in Verdansk. So, Goat says it's pretty good. You've also said the Akimbo Diamattis are good, and that the FFAR is a viable assault rifle this evening, right? So...
Damn.
Okay. You might be right, but your track record this evening has not been great, in my view. So I don't know. By the way, I'm joking. I don't recall exactly what you said about an FFAR. But
I gotta try Tundra tonight.
But yeah, M82 is actually viable though, no cappuccino. I could believe that, actually. Depending on how you set it up. But I would like to see after the DMR nerf. I mean, if any of you guys have used the Barrett, let me know in the Discord and tell me what your thoughts are on it. Because I haven't even fucking seen anyone use it. And I don't think there's a ground loot version of the Barrett. But Tanner, Cold War sniper rifles in Verdansk. Pellington, Tundra, M82. What are your thoughts?
The only one I've really used, is, like I said, the first Pellington that everyone finds, which isn't good after a short period of time. The bullet velocity on it is just so bad, even early round. I mean, somebody has to be close to get the kills on pretty much because the bullet velocity just sucks. But I do see a bunch of people saying the Tundra is good, and now I really want to try that out because the Tundra is by far my favorite of the three snipers in Cold War.
Agreed.
Also saying the M82 is, what did he say? Is it good? What did he say? He said M82 is good. I find that so hard to believe though. How would it? Well, I don't know. We have learned today that the damages are entirely different, so it really doesn't matter. But it's just like the ADS speed alone is so bad. Maybe it's better in Warzone. I don't know. I actually haven't seen an M82 in Warzone, and I never thought I would, so it's kind of hard to say.
If it's a two-shot down, I could absolutely see that being good.
Maybe, yeah, because it's semi-auto, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I do trust what Goat says, though, because he does snipe a lot. So he's probably used all the snipers quite a bit already.
He's one of the best snipers in the community, in fact.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, he does use a short barrel SPR on Shoot House free-for-all when we're playing custom games.
Oh, yeah.
And he doesn't tell anyone he's using a short barrel. Genius move. Makes me mad.
He said the M82 has a good fire rate and great range, obviously one shot to the head. 20 times scope for super long engagements, K. Interesting. I don't think I'd ever want to run a 20 times scope. Yeah, I believe what you're saying, but I don't ever want to use one, actually. I I like using bolt action snipers. There's something like refreshing about hitting a really good shot with those. So I am gonna try out the Tundra tonight, no matter what. Even if we get shit on, I'm gonna at least attempt to use it.
We will get shit on, but yeah, I support it.
Of course
I
you
want you to.
Yeah.
So, anyways, okay, interesting.
Yeah, sorry it took so long, by the way. I was getting this glass out and I dropped a wine glass and it shattered all over my counter, so I had to clean it up real quick.
What's in your glass?
Just Diet Coke. Coke.
Just Coke?
Just cocaine.
Yeah. That's a joke, by the way. Twitch TOS.
Gabe
Obviously,
here?
there's not cocaine. You're such a shit cunt. Anyways, okay. So let's move on here. So these are more. So again, like I said, we didn't try every Cold War weapon last night. Nor have we tried them in Warzone at large in general, even outside the custom games. But I tried quite a few of them, as we just pointed out, and I know what the attachments are for all of them and roughly how they work. So I have a pretty good idea of Cold War weapons in general. And here are our thoughts on these going forward, even after the DMR nerf and stuff. Cold War weapons in general, first of all, have way lower bullet velocity. It makes it tough for them to be as good as their Modern Warfare counterparts. Bullet velocity is extremely important, especially in Warzone, and in an online video game too, which we've talked about a lot. They also, in general, have far more recoil, especially the assault rifles. The LMGs actually have less recoil, interestingly, but the ARs have far more in general. In other words, almost everything about them makes them worse at range, which will in turn make them worse for Warzone. And when we get to the SMGs, you might be thinking velocity and recoil are not that important for Cold War SMGs. I kind of agree with this. And I am curious to try like the AK-74U, for example. I feel like that could be pretty good, but everyone's dick has been hard about the MAC-10, so no one's been using it, myself included.
74U is going to be really fucking good, I think.
Yes. I think the Cold War SMGs have a better chance of being on par than the Cold War assault rifles. However, as you pointed out earlier, Tanner, which is a great point, the Cold War SMGs don't have Merc foregrip, and Merc foregrip on MW weapons increases your recoil control, vertical recoil, and it also increases your hip fire accuracy. And Cold War guns don't have that attachment. So when it comes to an SMG, you're never going to have a Merc foregrip, so you can't have the insane hip fire accuracy that every Modern Warfare SMG will have, which is important. And it's especially important in buildings and shit. And you should be hip firing most of the time if you can, if people are close enough. So that's a big downside for every SMG. But Tanner, I'm going to go piss out of my giant white dick, but give us your thoughts on Cold War assault rifles and SMGs. And if you wanted to get into anything else, I'll be right back.
Okay. So the bullet velocity thing is for sure a big issue. And I was going to ask you this question, but you can answer when you get back. I'm wondering if they are going to add or just alter more attachments like they did with the agency suppressor. I'm wondering if we're going to get a bunch of attachment changes like throughout the next months. Because basically they're going to realize like, oh my God, yeah, all these Cold War weapons have disgusting bullet velocity. I mean, some of them have a ton of recoil. Some of them have, low damage range, and it's usually just more the velocity than anything. So I'm wondering if we're going to get more attachments, maybe recoil attachments to help with that, like different grips or something. That's going to play in more to Warzone. Because as of now, a lot of the things just straight up don't make sense. It's just like, why is this attachment in the game? There were already a bunch of attachments with Modern Warfare weapons in Warzone that are just like, oh, this is, I mean, not very good to run. And in the Cold War now, I just feel like there's more of those. So it's, I don't know. That all needs to be figured out. While I'm reading through your notes here.
That was a good point about changing attachments, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly just the bullet velocity. I think that is the biggest issue of everything. And it's like, that's something I wonder if they'll just increase across the board. Like, we'll just get a weapons update, and they'll essentially just like every Cold War AR bullet velocity was increased by 10%, 15%, something like that. I wonder if we'll get some sort of change, because that's going to be needed. But it's so hard to determine like what's going on right now because the DMRs, like, we just can't test anything really.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they did that agency suppressor pretty damn quick, which makes me think they are going to change other attachments just completely from how they act in Cold War to fit more into Warzone.
Yeah. Sorry, I was writing.
Okay.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. I think that's a very interesting point about how they just changed how the agency suppressor works for Warzone for Cold War weapons, and they made it from unviable to viable.
Yep.
I want to talk about that, but I wrote it down, so we'll get to it later at a more, just at a different time. So we'll come back to that, but I think that's a great point. Also, on Cold War weapons, here's another thing they don't have. They don't have Merc foregrip. They also don't have tactical laser. And this does a lot of things. None of them matter except for increase your ADS speed. That does matter. That is a pretty big deal for a lot of setups. If you look in the past almost a year that Warzone's existed, probably 60% of every meta setup, maybe not 60, maybe 40% of every meta gun setup has included a tactical laser, because you can just increase that ADS time. That is a pretty big deal for a lot of setups where I would love to throw a tac laser on, but I can't.
Yeah.
This is the most impactful when it comes to LMGs. Every Bruin setup, besides the detachable magazine, also had the tac laser. In this game, there's one attachment to make your LMG ADS faster, which is the wrap or grip, I think is what it's called in this game.
Yeah.
And then, so I'll put on my Serpent wrap, 25% extra ADS time. Cool. Wish I had more, like MDub did. And this just speaks to how sophisticated, although flawed, the Modern Warfare Gunsmith was. There were a lot of attachments to do a lot of shit. And the Cold War Gunsmith is good, but it's not as sophisticated and robust as the Modern Warfare's was. Which is why we are at this point in Warzone. It's, of course, totally unbalanced and impossible to do. You have to make the Cold War weapons fit into Warzone. And right now they just don't. They just don't. Not having tac laser, again, I think is a pretty big deal. Yeah. Okay. Any thoughts on that?
No, I think we're good there.
Okay. So now we're going to get into the leak, which is not really a leak, as Tanner said. So what will be the meta after the DMR nerf and the Type 63 nerf and the Akimbo Diamattis nerf? That is the most perhaps relevant exploration we can do. So True Game Data, friend of the pod, apparently had the same idea as we did today. And he actually released this video again today after I finished writing the notes, which we've talked about. And I will link this video.
It's up for debate.
We'll check the documents. And I'll link the video in the show notes as well as his website. But let me just give you guys a preview of his website. And if you guys listen to a podcast about Call of Duty, so you are nerds. If you can look on the screen here, this is the website, truegamedata.com. Again, I'll have the video and his website linked in the description. you can do a lot of cool shit on this. And this is like Gunsmith stat bars if they were accurate. That's what this website is. And you can like see exactly what, damage ranges there are. You can also compare weapons. There's like this comparison tool. So you can compare, well, the site's not working great. Here we go. Okay. You can compare the BKM.
It's a brand new site.
You can compare the PKM and then you pick your attachments. You see the damage drop-offs, DPS plot. I mean, this is literal values, 1.77 meters per second ADS movement speed. So there is a lot of sophistication to this website, and it's very well done. And he released a video because they learned some new, interesting information. And I strongly encourage you guys to go to the show notes, join the Patreon, and then after that, go to this video, which I will link for you. Again, this video is literally the same topic as the one we were speaking about today, except it has data and graphs and shit. So he illustrates these with numbers. And the question is, what will be good after the DMR and the Type 63 nerf? True Game Data went through a lot of analytics in this video, and his list of top 5, in no particular order. Hold on. One thing he learned when he was testing how these guns perform in Warzone is that a lot of the time, for a lot of guns, let's take the M4 for example. In multiplayer, the M4 is 3 shots to kill, the fake numbers, but 3 shots to kill up to 20 meters, 5 shots to kill up to 40 meters, and then 6 shots to kill after 40 meters. A lot of the guns in Warzone, which apparently they just learned, they don't have that second damage drop off. They only have 1. So it's like M4 does. So in multiplayer, the M4 works that way, for example. Again, fake numbers. But in Warzone, it's just 3 shots to kill to 20 meters, 4 shots to kill to 40, and beyond 40. And with this information, this changes the game, obviously. Because that means guns that are good in multiplayer might not be good in Warzone and vice versa. Because not having another damage drop-off actually, again, totally changes the whole fucking scene about what's good and what's not good.
Yeah.
And his hypothesis, after they ran the numbers and discovered this, is that these are going to be 5 of the really good, maybe best guns in Warzone after the DMR and Type nerf. Number 1, the AMAX. No particular order. Number 2, the RAM. Number 3, the Bruin. And now we're getting a little surprising. Number 4, the M4A1, the Modern Warfare M4. And Tanner's favorite gun, of course. You can see his stats and you'll find that out. And then the most surprised I've ever been is number 5. Again, no particular order. This isn't 5th best. It's just number 5 on his list of top 5. But not necessarily in that order. The AN fucking 94. Who remembers that gun? Who remembers that gun, dude? The AN 94. So that is a very, very interesting top 5 list. And again, watch the video because he'll show you the numbers on these 5 guns, and he will also show you a chart where they're all compared on the same graph with different color lines and shit. So you can actually picture why he thinks these 5 guns are really good, and you can juxtapose them and compare and contrast them with each other. And he explains, of course, why he thinks these are really good. So this is fucking super interesting, and I want us all to take note real quickly. AMAX, RAM, AN94, Bruin, M4A1. That is 0 out of 5 for Cold War weapons.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah.
0 out of 5 for Cold War weapons. Which again, when I wrote these notes before this video came out, I had already said, look, Cold War guns just aren't that good right now for the reasons that we just talked about. So this is unsurprising, of course, and the numbers back it up. But Tanner, what are your thoughts on this list? Because you told me about this video this evening at like 5:30 or some shit.
So the AMAX, not surprising at all. The RAM, kind of surprising to the average person, even though I think you were the first person to say like freaking 6 months ago that the RAM is like really, really good and still nobody was using it. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I never listened to you. I still haven't really given it. Well, of course, I gave it a little bit of a shot, but I never really liked it much. But again, you know, keep in mind, what he's talking about here is a time to kill. He's not taking into effect like the recoil patterns or anything, which that's the thing I hate about the RAM, is I hate the recoil pattern. It's so weird.
It is,
so I mean, just because
weird, yeah.
just because a gun like one AR has the lowest time to kill theoretically, it doesn't mean it's going to be the best gun to use. Because I think, what was the lowest? Was it the AN-94 or the M4? It was one of those two.
The lowest time to kill is the AMAX. But it depends on where you're shooting, because you get different damage values for arm, stomach, chest, and head.
True.
That's why it's hard to make a one-to-one comparison, because if you're shooting only chest, this gun's better. But if you shoot chest twice, stomach 3 times, that gun's better. But if you shoot the arm 8 times, then actually this third gun's better. So it's hard to say.
It's a disaster, yeah. The Bruin... So yeah, AMAX RAM, not surprising at all. M4A1, I don't think is surprising. It was always like mid to high tier AR, I think. The Bruin, that's a little surprising.
That was surprising.
Just because they nerfed the hell out of it. So I mean, almost nobody has ran that since the nerf. So that's a little surprising to me. But yeah, the biggest one for sure is the AN-94, because that gun, I think, is one of the most inconsistent guns in Modern Warfare. I mean, even playing multiplayer with that thing, like you would play one round, get a few kills and think it was just the best gun. I mean, you would one burst people, and then you would come across somebody else and it just felt like it wouldn't kill. Like the hit reg was inconsistent. The fire rate gets a little wonky because, you know, the fire rate's different with that gun if you're pressing down or if you're holding down the trigger. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah. So the way the AN-94 works, real quick.
Yeah,
just
no,
to
you're
explain
fine.
to people listening. When you fire the AN-94, the first 2 bullets are like fucking 900 RPM, and then the third, fourth, etc. onward bullets are like 600 RPM. So it's like bop, 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 bop.
Yeah.
So you can gallop with... Interestingly, for Warzone, you do have to gallop assault rifles sometimes just to control recoil, and AN-94 is going to be the best at that, because every single press fires 2 bullets at least. But anyway, go on. Sorry.
But yeah, so that was extremely surprising that he said that, or what we found out about the time to kill in Warzone with that gun. I mean, I feel like on that graph he was showing, the time to kill compared to like multiplayer and then in Warzone with that setup was like the biggest difference of any of the weapons. Because I think it also had... Yeah, it only had the 2 different damage profiles for the range, I think. It was either like this damage up to this many meters, and then from that many meters out, it was all the same damage, I think.
I think they just have... I think most of these just have... You guys can go watch the video, but it's either 1 or 2 damage drop-offs. 2 at the most.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
But yeah, it's just... I mean, the thing about that gun is, like I was saying, when you hold it down, it's fully automatic. The recoil is so weird that it's just, you can't really use it. So basically what it comes down to is you have to burst fire the weapon. And as we've talked about, burst firing a weapon, you're always going to be more inaccurate with it, and you're never going to be as good versus like just a fully automatic weapon. So we just have to hold it down.
Interesting.
So I mean, even if it's a good AR, if you're having to constantly burst and like worry about that and decide like, oh, should I go full auto here and hold it down and get a little bit less fire rate, or should I do the burst here? It's like, to have to figure those things out in Warzone, I think is going to end up being too inconsistent. So that gun, I don't really care what the time to kill says. I don't think it'll end up being good.
Very interesting.
But we'll see about that one.
I think
it's the weirdest gun in Modern Warfare. It's so strange.
I think if you used it again, dude, you would be surprised at how little recoil it has. because I used it in my problem with the AN94 in multiplayer was that the iron sights are so bad that you can't use them. You can't use the AN94 iron sights. And that was my biggest problem with it. So I had to use like a mini reflex. So now it's just like I can only use 4 attachments where on every other AR I can use 5. Because the iron sights are at least usable. They're like basically unusable on the AN94. They're so bad. But that wouldn't be a problem in Warzone because you're going to want to run a sight no matter what on every AR.
Exactly.
But outside of that, the AN94 felt to me like really good, and the recoil felt like totally normal and fine. I think you're just misremembering because there's no way that you're incapable of controlling its recoil. I think you're
I just thought
or something.
Fully automatic, the recoil was strange. Like I just felt like the shots always missed. Burst, it was fine, but then you had to worry about controlling a burst weapon.
Yeah.
Holding down full auto on an AN94 is very inconsistent.
That's interesting. I think another thing to consider, even if you do feel that way with like your multiplayer setup, your Warzone setup would be way different. And then I think you wouldn't actually have that issue, to be honest with you. I think you would be able to control it just as well as like an M4 in Warzone. Because in AN94, you don't use the like a Merc foregrip, which you would in Warzone, you know. So I think you'd be surprised at how much you'd like it in Warzone. But yes, I hear you on that. I was fucking thrilled to hear this because again, I liked the AN94 multiplayer a lot. Actually, it was really fun. I would often like opt to use it, even though I was forced to use a fucking GI mini reflex on shipment, which is a yikes, obviously. But
yeah,
I'm very excited to use this in Warzone once the DMR gets nerfed, and that's going to be the first thing I do. But I 1000% agree with you about where you're saying he wasn't really taking into account recoil and shit. And the AMAX, I think, is the best example of this. The Ram's a good one, too, because the Ram is fucking weird. Its recoil does not go up. It goes left. Like, it goes up a little bit and left a lot. So people are not used to that.
Out of horizontal recoil.
Yeah. So, by the way, guys, here's the pro tip for that. Don't use a Merc foregrip on a Ram. Use the Commando foregrip. And now you're going to get an added bonus of faster ADS time. That's another reason the Ram is so disgusting in Warzone. It's so fucking good. And again, I've been saying this since the gun literally released. So, but I'm the asshole, right?
Yeah.
So the AMAX, I think, is where you're like, your point on that is the most true. Like, some people swear by the AMAX and fucking love it in Warzone. Some people hate it. I'm kind of indifferent to it, but the reason the AMAX is so contentious is not that it isn't that good. It's just that it does a truckload of damage, but it has a fuck ton of recoil. And also, what he didn't mention is that, which is a good point, again, like you were saying, he was like ignoring some factors. Another factor is the biggest mag you can get on an AMAX is 45 rounds. Whereas on these other ones, it's like 50 or 60. That's kind of important in Warzone.
The fire rate is a little bit lower, though.
The fire rate is all... Yeah, true. Sure. That's true. So that's another thing with the AMAX to consider. Is it's a lot different. But I would like to also point out, guys, that these lack of damage drop-off things, this is not a new change. This has probably been the case for the entire duration of Warzone.
Yeah.
The reason this is new is not because it was recently changed. It's new because everyone just figured it out. So this has always been the case. So you might be thinking the AMAX has always been good. It's like, well, yeah, it's always not had the damage drop off. The news here is that everyone just found out about it. So, and like no one's even tried the AN94 in Warzone.
No, nobody.
Because it's like not that good in multiplayer, and they did the tests in multiplayer. And when they did the tests in multiplayer, they said, oh, the damage range is shit, so I'm not even going to try it in Warzone. But now that we know it doesn't have a drop-off, all of a sudden the AN94 looks really good on paper. So I'm curious to see what a lot of these guns, mainly what the AN94 is going to do in Warzone. And also the M4. I never see M4s in Warzone, even before the fucking DMR. Like, when's the last time you saw an M4 in Warzone? or used one.
Dude, it's been a long time
right?
that you've set up a class for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, he even said that the growl was going to be good too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or
it
will
wasn't
be
in his
good.
top 5, but he did say the growl is good. Yeah. And
Interesting.
will be good after the DMR nerf. Yeah. And the growl has the best iron sights in the game, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're so good.
So. But again, notice how none of those are Cold War weapons. So again, like we said, they might ignore the Type 63 when they nerf the DMR. They probably will. In which case, that will be the new overpowered weapon. So again, like Tanner said, level your Type 63 so that when the DMR gets nerfed, you can abuse the Type 63 for a week before they nerf that too.
Yeah.
But the Type 63 will also be nerfed in short order.
Let's hope so.
And my prediction after that happens. So my predictions here. Once the akimbo Diamattis get nerfed, the new secondary will either be an SMG, again, like a Mac or an MP5, maybe the AK-74U, or the Street Sweeper shotgun, because when that was in the game for 2 seconds, 1 second. Come on, buddy. Sorry, my shit dog wanted inside. When that was in the game for 2 seconds, I saw some Twitter clips saying, oh, this thing is so good. The Street Sweeper is busted. However, you guys hear him?
Yeah. What's your dog shit dog doing in there?
Is he dying?
It's
Tanner,
possible.
what do you think that the new secondary is going to be? I have to tend to my shit dog. Hold on.
After what? After, I guess, just what it's gonna. Oh, after the
After the akimbo Diamattis.
Well, I think it's just going to end up being. I think it's going to be the 74U, the Mac, or it's going to go back to the MP5. I think it'll be one of those. I mean, I don't know. I wish like the Bullfrog or something.
Gameplay?
No, never. The only Street Sweeper gameplay I saw was that it took about 60 seconds to reload the magazine, which is fantastic.
That
and
is
I love that
fantastic.
they did that.
Yeah, true.
So I mean, that's kind of hard to use in Warzone if you're like think of the R9. You can push a building, Dragon's Breath, kill 4 squads, reload your 12 rounds, 14 rounds in like under 10 seconds, and then wipe another squad. But like with the Street Sweeper, it literally, I'm not exaggerating, took maybe 1 second to reload every round.
Every shell or whatever. Yeah.
It is very slow, which is great because that's the best way they could have balanced it, pretty much. But yeah, I am ready for. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with the MP5. It's fun to run. I really like it. But I'm ready for like a 74U secondary meta.
I would like to mix it up. MP5 has been good for so fucking long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I agree.
It's a lot of fun, but that's I think part of what make BR so popular is how the meta usually changes. I mean,
Yes.
in most BRs it changes. So
Agreed.
I just want something different. Just like, hey, we want a different map or a map change to Verdansk, right?
Yes. Agreed.
But yeah,
Now-
I know you have an interesting note here regarding your thoughts on the secondaries.
Yes. And here's my interesting thought, which I actually haven't seen anyone talk about, which I'm sort of surprised by, but also I have more accurate predictions than everyone in this space, of course.
You are fake news.
We'll keep that in mind for sure. Akimbo Cold War Magnums. Hey. Why did everyone forget these exist? Why did everyone forget these exist? I don't understand. Because,
Well, are they good?
well, I don't know, because no one's using them in Warzone because the akimbo Diamattis are better. But once those get totally fucking gutted, I would not be surprised if the akimbo magnums are pretty fucking nasty. Because the magnums do a fuck ton of damage, and you can use them akimbo. And the thing about these is that, like Akimbo Renettis, they never had a Merc foregrip either. So now that they have, so at least the pistols have a 5 milliwatt laser. So they would be just as competitive as any Akimbo Modern Warfare pistol, which is why the Diamattis are so good. So the Akimbo Cold War Magnums, I think these might be sick and twisted. You have no experience with these, Tanner?
No. Why don't you run them tonight and find out? Dude, I would be so annoyed. I would be so annoyed if they did that.
Yeah.
Oh no. I hate no. No. I don't want to have to deal with that, dude.
It's going to depend on how many bullets you need to land to down a fully plated kid. Because I think if you need 3... fuck, that's fast too, though. I don't know. I'm just saying it's possible that this becomes meta. It's possible. But if they are, they will get nerfed.
For sure possible.
They will get nerfed. So I don't know. Again, I don't think that's that interesting. But in the very long run, I think it's going to be Mac, MP5, AK-74U as the new secondary. SPAS 12 is quite good, but the reload speed is too slow. And I think the Street Sweeper is kind of the same deal. Too slow of reload speed, probably. But we'll see. I have less to say on secondaries. But onto snipers setups, people sniping. I think these will look exactly the same as they do now, unless the Barrett's really good and just no one's really tried it yet. It's going to be an HDR or a CAR or an SPR paired with, again, a Mac, an MP5, an AK-74U, etc.
MP7, something like that.
Or maybe a Tundra, which is what you were saying. What do you think?
That's what I'm thinking. I feel like we're kind of moving away from HDRs. That's kind of what it seems like. I feel like most people are using, higher movement speed snipers at this point, and we're kind of done with like the long range. I mean, do you remember when Warzone came out and everyone ran an HDR with a thermal? Yes. Oh my God, it was fucking horrible. And I think we've just had the HDR for so long that people are getting away from it. CAR right now, I think, is the most fun sniper to use. I haven't touched the SPR in a while in Warzone, pretty much since they fixed the what's it called? How it had no bullet velocity. What's the word for it?
Wait, hit scan?
Hit scan, yeah. Since they fixed the hit scan on it,
yeah,
I really haven't touched it much, but I do see people running that still as like a good setup. So I think that in a CAR would be fun, and if we can like throw the Tundra in there or something, that would be good to do. And then like Mac, MP5, MP7, 74U as a secondary. Maybe people might fuck around with a FFAR, like a closer range setup. I think that's possible too.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Actually, I want to try the FFAR with a sniper.
I just want to be able to use a bolt action sniper and like not be pissed when I get two tapped to a DMR from like 400 meters, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure. Yeah. And then again, for the AR setups, it's going to be one of those 5 probably that we mentioned. I would say RAM and AMAX are probably going to be the 2 most popular because people are familiar with those. And they already have the max level and shit. So
I agree. The RAM though, that horizontal recoil is so weird. I mean, even with the commando, that's always been my issue with it, is it's hard to predict, and horizontal recoil is harder to control than vertical recoil. So I don't know. I mean, obviously they're saying it's good. Have you ever used what optic did you used to use with the RAM? Did you just use a red dot? Or were you using the VLK?
APX Hollow.
That's right. I wonder how the RAM performs with a VLK. I can't think of ever seeing that used actually. I wonder if it has lower recoil.
Oh yeah, because that's a fun and exciting feature of this game. VLK gives you less recoil, not just perceived, but actual less recoil.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think Warzone will be in a pretty decent spot with the DMR nerf.
I am excited. Yeah.
I mean, people keep saying like, "Oh, Warzone's in the worst state of all time." It's really not. It's probably the worst weapon meta of all time. But I mean, in terms of bugs, I've actually been kind of surprised since the seamless transition. I mean, it's been like all the Cold War guns are a disaster still, but the actual core gameplay itself, there's not a lot of bugs in it. I mean, we're not getting the demonic polygonal bug, you know, we're not getting a lot of crashes and stuff. So I feel like we're kind of solid right now. Once the DMR meta is gone, and also, hey, give us a performance increase, right? We dropped 40 frames with the start of the season. Fix that, and Warzone, I think, will be in a better spot than it's been in a long time.
That's assuming, of course, they don't introduce 8 more bugs when they fix those.
Which they will. Yep. Yeah, I didn't even think
will.
about that.
Yeah. But it is Raven, so there is hope.
Infinity Ward is completely out of the picture now. So
yeah,
let's see what happens. Now, are they working on a game that's going to come out very soon? Are they getting the Treyarch special? They're going to have a fully developed game in 8 months?
That's a
bug-free?
An excellent question that I hope is not true. I hope Infinity Ward is fired. You can't fuck up a product that badly and then be rewarded with another contract.
I mean, they did essentially create Warzone, which has made Activision, Infinity Ward, all of them more money than ever. That's the most popular Call of Duty game of all time. So
that's an interesting point. You might.
So in Bobby Kodak's mind, their Infinity Ward is the best dev team. Absolutely.
That is, you're unironically completely correct on that. Actually, yeah. So well.
I'm usually right. Yeah.
Well, let's tone it down. So, and then our last point here, which is a great point, and I'm glad that Tanner said it. As he said, they can and probably will change Cold War performance for Warzone. Just like they changed the agency suppressor to mimic a monolithic suppressor so that you could use these guns to compete with MW guns in Warzone, they are going to do the same for either other attachments. So they'll make like a speed grip into a Merc 4 grip, for example. And they'll make like a 1 milliwatt into a tac laser, for example. They will do either that or they're just going to, for example, increase the base velocity of all Cold War guns for Warzone. I think they should do both, to be honest. I think the base velocity needs to be raised to be on par with MW, otherwise it won't be worth using those guns, probably. And then also they need to add in some of these really good meta attachments that MW guns already have to Cold War guns. And honestly, I think they will. Because, as Mulletproof Bunk said, friend of the program, rich person, so he knows a thing or two about making money. He said this to me last night. It is in Activision's financial interest to not only make the Cold War weapons viable in Warzone, but to even make them better than MW weapons. And the reason
make
that
Cold
would be,
War weapons better? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason is, if you did, you would incentivize people to buy Cold War so they can level up the guns faster to use in Warzone. Which makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. So they have from both the standpoint of gameplay experience and bottom line, Activision has an incentive to bring these Cold War weapons at least up to par with MW weapons. If not, make them overpowered. Now, I don't know if they're competent enough to realize this, let alone do it. But I will say I wouldn't be surprised if they changed more attachments like they did with the suppressor. And I also wouldn't be surprised if they just increased like base velocity for all of them. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do one or either of those things. It's really a toss-up for me. What are your thoughts, Taylor?
Well, I agree with you there. They for sure would make the most amount of money if Cold War guns were busted. Because, I mean, even though I know a lot of people right now are leveling up guns and plunder because they don't want to play Cold War. But I feel like if that were the case, all of the Cold War guns should have been busted during the seamless transition. I mean, now that it's already been X amount of weeks since the transition happened, and most of the Cold War guns are still, well, most of them are still bad. There's a couple that are really good, and then the vast majority of them are really bad.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like if they were thinking that, then all of them would have been busted during the transition. I mean, it's obvious that they weren't ready for the seamless transition, right?
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I think.
I mean, it's obvious they were literally months away, and they had to just push it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But okay, so do you think they'll change them or no?
No, I don't think so. If they were to do it, I think it would have been that way on launch to get everyone to buy like right away. As soon as it transitioned over, Warzone was out, people realized, oh my God, all these guns are so good. I'm going to buy Cold War and level them up real quick. I think now it's actually the time frame has already passed and it's already been too long. And I mean, no matter how you feel about it, far more people hate Cold War multiplayer than they did Modern Warfare multiplayer. Like
That's
the
true.
average,
I agree.
Like the actual average player prefers Modern Warfare multiplayer by a long shot, I think. So I don't know. I think they already I think they missed their little time frame they had to do that. So
Interesting.
I do think we'll get them balanced a lot over the next months, like we were just saying, adding attachments, just changing the way attachments work in general, tweaking the guns constantly. I mean, these Cold War weapons are gonna be tweaked constantly for the next 6 months. Probably it's going to take them a long time to figure all this out, because I think about it, like all these guns that for Warzone, for Modern Warfare, they had most of that figured out before Warzone came out. But for these Cold War guns, they made the games in Cold War and then they just basically put that gun into Warzone. So it's like none of them are set up to play that way. It's like they just put it there.
Yes. Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know.
I hear you. That's a good
Gonna
point.
be a lot of weapon tuning, I think, coming up.
I hope so. Because it would be, it would be nice. But
I will say this. I think new guns that continue to come out every season in Cold War, if anything, those are going to be the ones that we'll see that are going to be busted, probably.
Yeah.
Not the ones that are already in the game right now. It's the future weapons we're going to get at the start of seasons.
I think that's a good assessment. I think you're right about that for sure.
Oh yeah, should we touch on this the DMR nerf thing when we think it's happening?
Go for it. Yeah.
So basically, like Activision, all the offices, they were off this entire week. So probably what the guess is the DMR nerf probably won't actually come this week, because they'll all pretty much get back to work on Monday. And then, they'll probably be working on that. So my guess is the earliest would probably be like on a Thursday update, which we know they usually do them on Tuesdays, or the big updates. So the DMR nerf, I don't know. It probably isn't coming this week. If anything, it would probably be the next week. But, it's just going to turn into the Type 63 nerf, because there's no way they do them both at the same time. So it's still going to be very similar after the DMR nerf. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I do think it'll come quick, though, like within those 2 weeks.
I think within 2 weeks is a fair assessment. I think 2 weeks from like today at the latest, probably. For sure. So yeah, agreed. Any other thoughts here? Warzone, future, anything to add?
I'm having a ton of fun playing Warzone. Even during this DMR meta, I'd much rather play this in Cold War multiplayer. I think I've just came to the conclusion that I hate Cold War multiplayer more than any other Call of Duty multiplayer I've ever played.
That's so weird. We're so different.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of Modern Warfare multiplayer, but I would much rather go back and play that than Cold War multiplayer right now.
Interesting.
But Warzone is a lot of fun, and I just want to get good at Warzone and, get a good group going, get some dubs. How about win at all, right?
Winning would be great.
How about get a win? That'd be ideal.
Warzone's just weird that way. Like, it does piss me off when we just don't win, But dude, like, there are times, I remember I was watching Swag stream one time, and for his entire 11-hour stream, he didn't win once. And Swag and his group, they're fucking good at Warzone. They're very good at Warzone. And I was thinking to myself, dude, if Swag can't win in 11 hours, no one can.
Oh.
Like, sometimes the circle's just dog shit. And sometimes it's dog shit 11 hours in a row. And you just get unlucky and stuff. And also, I felt even better when Nate Gibson said he hadn't won a Warzone match in 4 days.
No, that was our first win in 4 days. I fucking love Nate.
Nate he's a national treasure, and he's the best Call of Duty player to have ever lived, of course. Nate Gibson, twitch.tv/Nate Gibson, friend of the program. Tell him the Dropshot sent you. I don't think he wouldn't ever listen to a podcast, I don't think. Doesn't matter. We love Nate, of course. But yeah, so when I hear things like this, I'm just like, oh yeah, let's remember Warzone is about luck and where the final circle ends. That's obviously fake news, but my point is this. In the last week, I have also had a lot of fun playing Warzone, and it is annoying and disheartening to not win sometimes. But I feel like everyone, no matter how good you are also subject to this kind of getting lucky thing. Whether it be the circle or how many hackers are in your lobby and shit like that, you know? It just depends, you know? And sometimes you just don't get lucky. And that's even been the case with us. We've had nights where we won 3 games in a row. I think a 3-peat is the most consecutive wins we've ever gotten in Verdansk.
Yes.
And then we've also had nights, maybe we've had a couple of these nights in the past week, where we don't win a fucking game. Where we don't win a single game, right?
Besides Rebirth on Wednesday, I don't think we got top 7 in Verdansk.
No, we won.
Entire night.
We won when I was out fragging our entire team, and then I died, and then we won. We won on Verdansk? Your last game on. Yes, dude, it was your last game on, like 2 days ago. Me, you, Gabriel, and Low Kappa.
Oh, I was talking about on stream.
Oh.
That one we weren't streaming.
We weren't streaming. But yeah, we won with Gabriel.
I was talking about for the viewers to see, yeah.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll close with this. I've been having a lot of fun too. And we've talked about this before, but Tanner and I are committed to getting better at Warzone because you guys like watching it more. It's more fun to play for the stream when more people are enjoying the stream, obviously. And winning a Warzone match is more fun than winning a multiplayer match.
Oh,
obviously.
Yeah.
So we want to get really good at Warzone, and we're committed to doing that. And we're just going to put in the hours until we are, because it's going to be a win-win. You guys will enjoy it more. We'll have more insight to talk about it on the program, and we'll have more fun too, because the more often we can win, the more often we'll have fun.
I mean, essentially, we just want more of, we just want more of this, right? We want more of that at the end of our games, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
I've just gotten your channel banned, so you're welcome.
That is my first, second, and third DMCA strike on this program. But anyways, yeah. So speaking of Verdansk, we're going to fucking get into it. So Tanner, go live now. And, okay, so Hank Swift, I genuinely apologize. I can't believe I missed this, but 47 minutes ago, Hank Swift gifted 5 subs to the program. And Balake, with a 3-month sub, 16 minutes ago. Hank, if you're listening, brother, I apologize, dude, that I didn't get to this sooner. But I really appreciate it, brother. 5 gifted subs is a lot of help, of scratch, of support, of wasted money.
I'm going to get an alcoholic beverage.
Okay. So, yeah, Hank, I really appreciate the 5 gifted, dude. Thank you, brother. And if you, hopefully you're listening to this on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And rest assured, I was not ignoring you. I didn't mean to just skip you, right? But, you know, it took me 47 minutes. Sometimes that happens. But, Hank, I appreciate it, dude. Thank you for real, for the 5 gifty. And Balake with the sub as well. Thank you, brother. Much love. I appreciate you as well. And Balake is in the chat. Welcome, dude. Welcome back, brother. Thank you for your support over the months. And for the subarino. I appreciate it. Now, normally, of course, I would be reading iTunes reviews at this juncture, but there are none. So, you know, here's where I would plug shit and say, oh, you know, I would say, oh, the best way to support us is joining the Patreon, patreon.com/thedropshot, only only $5 a month for 4 bonus episodes a month, plus access to the entire back catalog, patreon.com/thedropshot. Follow me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, follow Tanner on those things as well. If you have Amazon Prime, link it to your Twitch account. Rate us 5 stars on iTunes, sub to me on YouTube, youtube.com/Razinon. Smash the like button. We have 2 merch stores. Join the fucking Discord. But I'm tired. And I want a game, more importantly. So I'm gonna not say those things that I would otherwise normally say, of course. Tarek M, the homie from high school, with the 5 gifted subs. Let's go, dude. Tarek, what's up, brother? Welcome, young king. Thank you for the 5 gifts-aritos, brother. I hope you're doing well. I haven't been able to catch your stream again, but I hope to. I think your schedule is like right before the program. So I think I'm usually writing notes or preparing for this, unfortunately. But I'll try and catch you live again sometime in the future. Because I liked your stream that I was there live for. It was cool. I'm curious if you got your camera figured out, by the way. If you got the new one. Because, yeah, I have a Sony a6400. But, yeah. Anyway, Tarek, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, dude. I appreciate you, brother. I hope all is well. You did. Nice, dude. Nice. Yeah, I'll have to check out your last past broadcast then. Because I want to see how it looks. But, yeah, cool setup. If you guys are looking to learn Photoshop and shit, Tarek's a genius at it. Twitch.tv/Tarek, TAREK_EM. The homie. Give him some love. He's an affiliate now. And thank you again for the 5 gifted, dude. I appreciate you. Yeah, of course, man. So, with that,
I was supposed to go live.
Said, yeah, go ahead and go live. Okay, don't sass me, Tanner, sir.
No, I'm serious. I was just like sitting here listening to you and I didn't go live.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah. I thought you were being a cunt. All right, well, go live because we're almost done. All right, so we're going to go get some fat, thick ropes of wins in Verdansk. Do we have Gabriel Sol Perez on the line?
We have Low Cap and Jake.
Low Cap and Jake? Okay, that'll work. Special thank you to our Damascus, I'm ready to carry, patrons for making this episode of the program possible. Mr. Salmonella, J. Pritch, Slivovitz, Jake Downs, Zerosio, To Kill a Sirocking Bird, Face Esquire, Gift Curse, Adam H., Sniff Sniff Hambone, Change It, Jimbo Slice, a.k.a. Mullet Proof Mute, Von Trapp, Lyle P., Aussie Menace, Goated Tanner Wants to Meet a 12-year-old, Papa Shitto, Civ, Blackbeard, Dr. J. Webb, Nick Can, King Camper, Derek R, Wade M, It's the Pickle, twitch.tv/its_duh_pickle, That Dirty Clap, Killicam, One Handed 89, Change It Back, Garrett S, Jada Pinkett Smith, Handsome Voice, Lemur Party, Freeze, The Dave Daily, Young Evan, aka Read a Book, Deacon Cheese, Sage, Legacy, Rizzle Music, Total Toad, Toady Boy, Manny Marr, Samuel, Cope Cowboy, Flank Master, Extraordinaire, Mac 10 Rat, Chris Baclair, Thomas L, Blake C, Lavana Fair, the 332nd, Brian P, Jaron G, Maxi, Shigo Hart, TTV Trump MAGA 20, Proud Dad, McBango, Metalhead, Hank Swift, L2K, also a demon on the keys or sticks, I don't know, but he did really well last night. Flex Stepdad, Get Scammed, Big Wreck, Chad G, Nick Venomous, Sweaty Aim Assist, Steven S., Chris W., See Ya Later Boy, change it, Kelly M., Ryan S., and an extra special thank you to our one and only Obsidian patron, the Dropshot Patriarch, the Vaping Viking. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching, Young Kings. Have an excellent evening, of course. And as always, please remember, stay humble.
Stay humble.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe because in addition to full episodes like this, we've also got clips from the show, as well as gameplay breakdowns and more on the channel. The show is streamed live on twitch.tv/Razinon every Wednesday and Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So give us a follow over there, make sure to turn on notifications, and you can chat with us live during the podcast. And of course, we are available wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for the Dropshot on your favorite podcast app and make sure to give us a follow. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. And as always, remember, stay humble.